Thank you for joining us today at Homestead for Life. Today we are going to be talking about and assembling our new hydroponics set. So this came off Amazon, very cheaply made, truly, but all the work's been done. Not all the work, you'll watch me do so much work, but a lot of the work's been done for you. So it comes with the little baskets that the foam pieces go into. The holes are pre-cut in all your PVC. All your fittings are here. The pump comes with it. And it was under 150 bucks. I'll link it in the description. But everything necessary except for your fertilizers and your seeds came with it. So from there, it's just following their instructions. And they did give you instructions, give me instructions for the seed starting. But following all those steps to get your seed started to get to this point. So today we're going to talk about that process and compare our strawberry starts from here in our hydroponic system to in our soil in the ground that has been watered daily, but to see comparatively how those have grown. So my plants aren't quite ready. My seedlings aren't quite ready for the hydroponic system. But I just got some strawberry starts in the mail that I'd ordered, and those are. So today, we're going to put together the hydroponic system so that we can get those strawberry starts in there. All right, so we have our system all set up. We need to add these in. I think I'm actually going to wait to add most of those in until I've got the plants in them. So how do I get the plants in them? My strawberry starts came with dirt already in them, which is not great for what we're doing here. So we're going to try and shake them apart. Ooh. I've never ordered strawberry starts from a real nursery. I've always just gotten the plants at Lowe's. So we're going to have to shake these apart, probably rinse them apart. Some of them are actually going to go in the ground. So I don't want to lose all this good dirt. Get the rubber band off here carefully. Pour dirt all over myself. All right. So shake them out as much as we can. Then I'm going to rinse these off before putting them in the little foam pads. So, one moment. So the little foam cubes that this comes with are you probably can't see that, but if you squish them, they're split in the middle. So we are going to carefully try and put our starts through that hole so that our roots are hanging out the bottom. And then the roots are what's going to go on the inside of the thingy. So essentially, you have to replace these little foam squares every time you swap out your plants in the hydroponic system, which is fine. And then you just kind of push the roots down through the little plastic holder. The holders you can reuse. Come on. And then those are going to go into one of the little spots. And that's it. So we're just going to do that like half a dozen more times. Okay, we are all set up. I've got about 20 strawberry starts in here. The ones that the roots were too big to fit through are going to go out in the actual garden. And it'll be really interesting to see how they do comparatively, but there's not going to be the bird threat over here so much. So I'm pretty sure this one's going to do better. So fertilizer. Once we have all this set up and we've got our cute little pump, you've got to keep the water level in your bucket high enough that never becomes unsubmerged. It has to be underwater the whole time. So this isn't going to be our permanent bucket. This is just temporary for now until I get a better bucket that I can drill a hole in the lid for these pieces to come out of so we don't lose so much water to evaporation. So our nutrients, our fertilizer, we've got Flora Micro, which is what we're going to start with because the first thing we want to focus on is root and leaf development before we just jump into flowers and blooming and all that fun stuff. So this one first, and we need 1/4 teaspoon for a gallon of water. I do not have a gallon of water here. I have half a gallon of water. So I'm going to measure as close as I can 1/8 teaspoon. And that's what's going to go into our system. The system we have has a timer on it that is so little. Stir it up a little bit. It'll kind of stir itself too as it's pumping through. The system we're using came with a timer, so we can set this for how often we want that pump to turn on. So we've got, you'll never guess this, but it's mostly in Chinese. We've got our timer. We can set it to run for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, or 30 minutes. And then how long we have it turned off. So do we want it on for 5 minutes, off for 30, 15 minutes on, 60 minutes off, 2 hours off, we can pretty much set all of that. So we're going to run it for 15 minutes let's do it every hour. I have no idea what's normal. I'm going to have to look that up, but to get started, why not, right? That's where we're going to start. So put that back in the sink and get this sucker plugged in and see it work. So about 5 gallons of water later, we've got water running through all the pipes and dripping back out. So it's hitting every single pipe along the way. Adding the fertilizer solution, the nutrient solution as we go. I have it set to run for 30 minutes every 2 hours because it took quite a bit of that time, actually might have taken a full 30 minutes just to get the water through all the pipes. Now granted, because they were empty beforehand and they're not going to be empty forever, right? So now that we've filled them, even when the pump is turned off, they're going to stay this full, right? Everything below where the pipes join is going to stay full. So there's always going to be some solution in there. But it's still going to take a little while to get it all circulated through, get fresh water and everything. So I'm going to leave it on 30 minutes every 2 hours. So 30 minutes on, 2 hours off. And what I already realized after we got this going is now that it's full of 5 gallons of water, this is not going to be easy to move to its permanent home. So water's kind of heavy, right? This went from being really light to pretty darn heavy. And these are not glued. These are not sealed. Okay, so be careful as you're moving it around, relocating it. And that's it for this week. So as my seedlings start growing more roots, we're going to start adding them out here since it's already going. It's ready to go. As soon as those roots are established enough to hang down through the basket to catch the solution, they're going to move out here. I will say, and hopefully I do well at this, to be strategic on what you're planting and where you're planting it. So my strawberry plants I know are going to dangle down. So they're on my bottom shelf because I can always easily make this taller and just swap out these bottom pieces. What I'm also going to put on the back end, I'm growing cucumbers. So those are going to go in the back tube, and I'm going to have a trellis kind of set up behind it, just some little fence panels that I can throw up there. And that's it for this week. So I'll keep you posted on how it goes. It has been 38 days since we put this hydroponic system together. And in those 38 days, we already have our first strawberries ripening up, eating this sucker tonight. We've got flowers on our cucumber plants in the back. We've got a couple other starts that aren't really taking off so well. We've got some peppers that are starting to really take off. And some of these I cheated. So these back here, I've got some romaine lettuce and some mustard greens. And I bought those as little seedlings and rinsed all the dirt off them and plugged them in. And now they've gone from little tiny, like this size or smaller, to these beautiful bushy greens. So the hydroponic set is doing really, really well. And I'll show you here as well how well our strawberry starts are doing that are in the ground. And if you remember, the strawberry starts that went to the ground were the ones where the roots were too big to go into our hydroponic set. So for about $100-ish, maybe 120, this set is fantastic. One thing to remember though is that you also need to buy your liquid fertilizers. And then you also need to hand pollinate if you're in a screen room like this. If it's just on an open patio, then your pollinators will get to it, but we have limited pollinators on the screen porch. So, but definitely a win. I am excited for strawberry season.